YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. In today's video, I have my must-own wide receivers that could be steals or sleepers where their average draft position currently is. At the end of the video, we'll also talk my favorite tight ends, but mainly my tight end strategy. So this video is mainly for the wide receivers. We did this video for the running backs already, and then we're going to do kind of deep sleepers, deep steals for the running backs as well. So plenty more to come. Want to do a mock draft as well, and we'll have a live stream of the Goat House's fantasy league for this year, which you can possibly join. Not too many spots left, but to join it, check out the links in the description. Very top of the description, there's a link, Patreon link. That's where you're going to want to check out if you want to join the fantasy league, Pick'ems league, or Discord chat. Very cool stuff. So I'd appreciate it if you can just look into that for more info. Subscriber goal is at 40K. We appreciate it very much if you subscribe to the channel. We have full coverage in season for the NFL, updated recaps, power rankings, predictions, score predictions, plenty more for the NFL season and college football season. So hopefully you can join us for that. Click that like button. Check out the Twitter. Let's get into some of these receivers. Kind of got them in a specific order, and then we'll talk about my tight end strategies and maybe some tight ends that I would look for. So first receiver, it's a top tier receiver in my opinion, and it's Tyreek Hill. Average draft positions around 15. For a half point PPR league. If it's a full point, then maybe a little earlier. But, I mean, why he's on here is because if he's there at 15, I'm taking him all day. It really depends on how the draft unfolds. But usually my strategy when I've had really good years is running back in the first round. Then I kind of go receiver crazy and look for one of those top tier tight ends. We'll talk about tight ends at the end. But obviously DeAndre Hopkins is the top receiver. If you have the opportunity to get him, I'd grab him. It really depends on where it is or which running back's on the board, though. But Tyreek Hill, if he's on the board around this range in the early second, I am grabbing him, not even thinking about it. So that's why he's on this list. And he's not really considered a top tier. You look at everyone's top tier guys, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Devontae Adams sometimes. How is Tyreek Hill not in that conversation? Is it because people thought he was going to get suspended or something? That's not happening. So he is a top tier receiver in my opinion, and he's a must-have for me in this range. Next up, a guy that's really a sleeper if you look at the average draft position so far for, combining all the leagues here, and that's Tyler Boyd at 59 is a ridiculous steal. Even if A.J. Green is in, Tyler Boyd is an excellent fantasy wide receiver. The Bengals want to throw the ball a lot. Tyler Boyd is a legit option. He's getting better and better every single year. It's very clear to me. And then A.J. Green is going to be out for a little bit, and he could, I hate to say it, but he could get re-injured. But even if A.J. Green plays most of the season, Tyler Boyd is still a legit option. I think he should be much higher than a lot of guys, and when you look at most of these rankings, it is an absolute steal at 59. I would think about taking him much higher than that. I had him last year, actually, and he helped me. Multiple guys did, but he helped me win my league. But, he was very reliable. It was early in the year. I was like, it's hard to trust Tyler Boyd because he hasn't really broken out yet. Do I want to put him in? He just consistently put up points. So, and I expect it again this year. He's only getting better. So that is an absolute steal at 59. I would take him much earlier than that. Another one that has a little earlier ADP here is Brandon Cooks, another guy that I had last year, who I'm feeling this year. He was a little bit of a disappointment last year. At the same time as saying a disappointment, he was still a very good receiver, got you some decent points if you had him. But I think he is more, he is what we expected last year. He wasn't quite there. Maybe that has to do with Robert Woods. I know Cooper Kupp's coming back. It's not really a threat to me. I think the offense, they're gonna have to change little things. They don't want to change the offense too much because it works. And they want to get creative in different ways so people don't figure them out. I think they involve Brandon Cooks more. He had, I remember he had a lot of big plays that it could have been a big play, and he didn't quite make the play, good coverage, or he would have a drop that really wasn't expected. He's a very good receiver, very talented. I expect him to have a better year this year. So it's kind of just one of those feelings for all those reasons. Average draft positions around 40. That's nothing crazy. I think that's about where he should go. Maybe I would take him a little earlier. Again, depending on how, we'll do a mock draft in the near future. Somebody brought that up in the comments. I like the idea of doing that. Kind of gives you a better idea. But I'm feeling Brandon Cooks. It's just one of those feelings, Next receiver is going to be Kenny Golladay. I love Galladay's game. Another one that's getting better and better. So I think he is going to continue to get better. Average draft positions at 42, just behind Brandon Cooks. Obviously, Brandon Cooks a little safer bet, but they will throw the ball to Golladay. I think things will open up for him. They may throw the ball to the tight end a little more because they got T.J. Hawkinson, but I like Golladay a lot. That actually could open things up more for him, but it's not really a guy you need to open things up for. It's kind of just throw the ball up to him. He's a big-time playmaker, so I like Golladay this year. Average draft position 42. I'm liking that spot a lot. Next receiver is going to be Chris Godwin, who pretty much everyone's talking about. Another one that continues to get better. Big jump last year. They don't have Humphreys anymore, who got a lot of targets. They don't have Deshaun Jackson anymore. So Chris Godwin on a team that loves to throw the ball because they just love to throw the ball, and because they're kind of the lack of the running back position there, they will throw the ball a lot. So Godwin at 46 could be a steal there. Even though Mike Evans is the number one receiver, Godwin will get his looks. And honestly, Mike Evans is the much better receiver, but I think Godwin has a little more flexibility. I think he can do a little more, actually. So I think it's a safe pick, even though he's not a number one wide receiver. So it's definitely a guy I'm interested in getting this year in fantasy football. Next up, we got Mike Williams. I mean, he was really breaking out towards the end of last year, the second half of the season, and he's finally showing us what he was capable of and what we expected him coming out of Clemson. Another guy that you could just throw the ball up to, and they really tried that. And you don't have Tyrell Williams anymore. And I think Mike Williams is a much better receiver anyways, in my opinion. So he will be used more, and that's definitely a guarantee. I think he's a safe pick. A risky pick in the past, and I think he's a safe pick now. 62 around that range would be a steal. So I'm really feeling Mike Williams as well. Next receiver, N'Keal Harry. The rookies are usually a little scary, but I like a couple of these rookies. I really like N'Keal Harry. He's my number one receiver in the class. And the Patriots will use him as long as he's healthy. It's something to monitor right now because he may have turf toe, which is a little scary. So it's definitely something to monitor. But if he's good to go like I expect him to be, he's definitely a threat. I think he can line up anywhere, can run any route. And it's a guy that doesn't need to be open for Tom Brady to throw it to him. Kind of like Gronk. He's not Gronk, and he's not even a tight end, obviously. But he's a big body, great catch radius. They will kind of use him in similar ways in terms of where they throw him the ball, and he doesn't necessarily need to be open for them to throw him the ball. And I know Brady could fit it in tight spots, and Harry will make the catch. So I do like him. I think he'll go off in his rookie year. Definitely a Rookie of the Year candidate. Another rookie that I like is Marquise Brown. Injury concern, maybe a little bit, but he's coming back now. He's on the field. In the average draft position at 160, that's just an absolute steal. I mean, him in this offense, Lamar Jackson offense, there's a reason they drafted him in the first round. Teams are very hesitant to take a receiver in the first round. There's a reason for it. He's perfect in that offense. He will get his looks, whether it's a screen pass, underneath passes, deep balls because of his speed, anything. He can run anything, can line up anywhere on the field. He will get action as long as he's healthy. That's why he's a safer rookie. Some of the rookies are a little scary, but I think he's a safer one. The only reason there's risk is because injury, not because of the reps he will get. Next receiver, Dante Pettis. I like Dante Pettis a lot. Pre-draft process, my comparison was a poor man's Adam Thielen. I'm feeling that still. I'm feeling that. He moves just like him. He has great routes, great hand fakes during his routes. The bottom line is, they drafted a bunch of receivers like they needed to, but the bottom line is they're going to throw to the open receiver. Who will be open for their team? It'll be Dante Pettis. He's another guy that can line up anywhere, can run any route. Your draft position 78 right now is the average, and I like that a lot. I think he's a safe guy. He's not going to get an insane amount of points because I don't know if he'll get a bunch of touchdowns, but he'll be open pretty much everywhere on the field, leading them into the red zone. So he will get his yards, and he'll have his touchdowns here and there. Next receiver I like is Curtis Samuel. Average draft position 105. It's a pretty good steal. Kind of waiting for him to break out. I think this is the year. I'm hearing and seeing a lot of good things in training camp for him. And why you might be scared is because he had a lot of hype. He hasn't broken out yet. Kind of been a letdown so far. But why that's okay. For most receivers, it's not a good sign. But it's okay for Curtis Samuel because he wasn't always a wide receiver. He was a running back before. So it's going to take some time for a guy like this to figure it out. So it makes sense to me. He's going to figure out. Also, another reason is also the Panthers have a lack of wide receivers. DJ Moore is going to be picked earlier than Samuel. But Samuel I like a lot. He's got a lot of upside. They can do many different things with them. And I think it's his time to break it out. They also lost Funches too. Totally different receiver, but they lost another target. And it's really DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel there for the Panthers. So I do like him. And then one more receiver, a little more of a deep sleeper, is Adam Humphries of the Tennessee Titans. I think he's a safe one to pick because another one that can run routes. He'll be open. He's a smart wide receiver. And I like him because, Corey Davis is the number one target, but he's kind of more of he can do more than sideline catches, but he's kind of more down the sideline. And then Mariota likes to throw in the middle of the field. And where that comes in is Delanie Walker and Adam Humphries. A.J. Brown was kind of threatening me for this, but for putting Humphries on here. But, he hasn't really, he's getting to practice now. He's kind of missed a bit of training camp so far. So I do like Humphries as a little bit later guy. Let's talk tight end strategy. So here are the top guys. Every year, there's guys that really separate themselves from the rest. Every year for tight ends. And here's the obvious. You guys aren't really learning anything here. These are the obvious three. There's their average draft position. But the problem is, other than these guys, pretty much everyone else is either getting, it could be a range from 0 to, they can have a freaky week, get an insane amount of points. But basically my point is, other than these three guys, pretty much everyone else has a chance to get very little to 0 points every week. And when I've had my success, I've had one of the top guys every year. I made sure I've got one of the top guys because, I'm not trying to get the 0 points, the 1 or 2 points in a random week and not knowing. It drives me nuts. Last year I had Zach Ertz, worked out very well. Kelsey's obviously the top tight end, but average draft position right now, people are starting to realize they're going to have to take him earlier. And that's why he's up at 16. So maybe I'd rather take a receiver up there at 16. So maybe I'm not feeling Kelsey, even though he's my number one tight end for fantasy. I'm not feeling him as much as the other two guys because I rather get a receiver or if I still need a running back at that point. So I'm looking at Kittle and Ertz. My advice is you don't need to be the first person to take a tight end. I guess let somebody take Kelsey unless you're absolutely in love with Kelsey and you think he's light years above Kittle and Ertz, then okay. You don't have to be the first to take a tight end, but you should be the second or third. I would strongly recommend getting one of these guys. It really depends on how your draft unfolds. Again, we'll do a mock draft to kind of get an idea, and we'll have a live stream of our Goat House draft, which you can join. That'll be next week. But my goal is to get one of these guys, most likely one of the second guys here, see their average draft position. Ertz is a little safer probably than Kittle, but Kittle's that big play guy. The question is, was he better with Nick Mullins? I guess that's somewhat of a question. I'm not too worried about it. But I'm really trying to get my hands on these guys. But there is a few other guys that I do like, and we'll talk about those guys right now, actually. And these are the three guys. Delanie Walker, actually, we'll point out first because he's my favorite one of this group because his average draft position is 139, which is hard to believe, which is weird. He is actually almost on the same level as those top three guys if he's healthy. He had the injury last year, so I guess that's maybe why his average draft position is so low. But he is a top-tier tight end in the NFL, much like those other, maybe not quite on their level, but right there with them. So if you are not worried about the injury, you definitely pull the trigger on Delanie Walker. So add him. So maybe I'd say if you feel confident about him not getting hurt, which I don't see a reason why he would get hurt again. I guess he's getting older, but I would say get one of those 4 tight ends then. The other 2 guys I like, but definitely after the group of 4. Is one of the good thing about Walker too is you can wait. If you somehow missed out on the other 3, you can wait a little bit. I wouldn't wait to 139. That's mind-blowing to me. And then you got David Njoku, who Baker Mayfield likes a lot, and he's getting better each year. And TJ Hawkinson was, I know he's a rookie, but he was one of the better tight end prospects I've seen in a very, very long time, and a safe one too. And something that I've noticed last year and pointed out before is the Lions almost forced things to tight ends. They really wanted to go to the tight end, but they didn't have the tight end, and it kind of was a mistake. And they drafted a tight end that early for a reason. They will go to the tight end. You can even run him the ball, which I don't know if he'll do a lot of, but you can even do that. He can do everything as a tight end. So I do like TJ Hawkinson a lot. And that's really the only tight ends I really liked was those 6. And like I said, really try to get your hands on one of the top 3s. Don't overdraft Kelsey, though. I think that's too early in that spot, his average draft position. I think it's a little early, depending on who's there. So really I'm saying is to get Kittle or Ertz if you have the opportunity to. But watch out for Delaney Walker as well. And then after that, these two guys right here. I was going to have Ebron on here, but the whole Andrew Luck thing is scaring. I was actually going to have T.Y. Hilton too for receivers. The whole Andrew Luck thing is scaring the absolute hell out of me. I had Andrew Luck the last 2 years. Last year, he helped me win the championship. 2 years ago, I got screwed over because I really thought he was going to come back. I did draft him late, so it wasn't too big of a deal, but I really thought he was going to come back, and that didn't happen. So I'm assuming he plays majority of the games this year, but you never know. So that is scaring me a lot. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Again, we'll talk about the deep running back steals. I got quite a few of them. That'll be tomorrow's video. We're also going to do a mock draft, at least one mock draft actually. Next week we're going to have the Goat House live stream I'm hoping next week we'll start that league draft. So you guys can actually join that. Check out the links in the description. Plenty more you can join as well. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks to everyone for their support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.